When I turned 68, I expected a calmer life, more free time, fewer obligations, perhaps even the luxury of solitude. What I did not expect was the ache of loneliness that settled into my bones. It struck like a slow fog. Birthday cards stopped arriving. My children were busy with work and families of their own. The phone's silence was deafening, and the echo in an empty house weighed on me. One night, I sat in my favorite armchair and realized I was more isolated than I had ever been. I felt invisible, disconnected, like a ghost drifting through my own life. In that hollow moment, I vowed to fight back. I would not let loneliness define my story. Over the next 15 minutes, I will share how I confronted isolation head-on, through small acts of courage, community building, and rediscovering the power of meaningful connection. If you have ever felt alone, even in a crowded room, please stay with me, because loneliness can strike at any age, but it can also be the catalyst for the most profound transformations. Recognizing the fog, I first noticed the loneliness on an ordinary Thursday. I poured myself a cup of tea and settled into the sunlit kitchen nook, my usual spot. But it felt emptier than ever. No one joined me. No one chatted over the counter. I realized I had gone days without hearing a friendly voice. That simple tea ritual went from comforting to hollow, and I understood. I was adrift, and I needed to find my way back to shore. Reaching out the next day, I forced myself to make a phone call I had been avoiding, the local senior center. A warm voice answered. "How can I help you today?" My voice trembled as I replied, "I would like information on your activities." That call was terrifying and exhilarating. I signed up for a weekly art class and a walking group. Making that first step shattered the quiet cage I had built around myself. Finding community at the senior center walking into my first art class, I felt like a stranger in a new town. Easels stood ready, paints shimmered in trays, and classmates chatted in small clusters. I introduced myself with a shaky smile. We began painting still lifes, vases, fruit, candles, and I discovered that creativity kindles connection. By week 3, we shared laughs over spilled watercolors and admired each other's work. I felt seen and valued again. Add sensory detail, the smell of turpentine, the soft scratch of brush on canvas, to anchor the scene for B-roll. The power of a daily walk. My next lifeline was the walking group, 5 peers strolling the river path. Each morning at dawn, the air was crisp, reeds whispered in the breeze, and sunlight glittered on ripples. We walked in companionable silence, then stopped to chat about grandchildren, gardening, book recommendations. That shared movement and conversation nourished body and soul. Loneliness receded step by step. Volunteering for connection, I realized solitude needed a purpose, not just company. I began volunteering at the local food bank. I sorted cans, filled boxes, and offered smiles to recipients. One woman, eyes brimming, said, "Thank you for caring." In that moment, I understood that giving my time brought me genuine connection, and I was needed again. Hosting sunset suppers. To extend my new circle, I started hosting monthly sunset suppers on my porch. I invited neighbors, fellow volunteers, and classmates. Each gathering, a simple potluck, stew, salad, fresh bread, became a lantern of conversation. We watched the sky ignite in pinks and purples, shared life updates, and toasted to friendship. Those suppers became a beacon in my calendar, a reminder that beauty and community thrive together. Embracing tech for far-flung bonds. My grandchildren lived miles away, and visits were rare. I downloaded video call software, an intimidating leap for a septuagenarian, and scheduled Sunday evening chats. To my delight, their faces appeared on the screen, bright and gleeful. We colored together, read stories, and laughed at my awkward digital fumbling. Technology bridged the miles and reminded me that connection need not be face-to-face to feel real. Rediscovering old friendships one afternoon, I dug out my old address book and found the number of a childhood friend, Elaine. We had lost touch decades ago. I dialed with trembling fingers. When she answered, her voice crackled with recognition. "Is that you?" We spent an hour reminiscing. School plays, summer camps, old jokes. We vowed not to wait another 40 years before reconnecting. That call reminded me that some friendships endure, patiently waiting to be rekindled. Creative article for reflection. I turned to article writing not as a private vent, but as a creative bridge to others. I began writing weekly reflections on my porch, weaving in anecdotes and lessons. I posted excerpts on a local community forum. Responses poured in, people sharing similar stories, offering empathy and advice. My loneliness dissolved into a tapestry of shared experiences, establishing check-in partnerships. Finally, I formed check-in partnerships with 3 new friends, a walking buddy, a fellow artist, and Elaine. Each week, we scheduled a quick phone call or coffee catch-up. These recurring check-ins created a safety net. Knowing someone would reach out kept the fog of isolation at bay and gave me both accountability and anticipation. Recap, we fought loneliness by recognizing the ache, reaching out to the senior center, joining art class and walking group, volunteering, hosting suppers, embracing video calls, reconnecting with old friends, article publicly, forming check-in partnerships. Which step can you take this week? Share in the comments. Loneliness is not a destiny. It is an alarm bell. Answering its call with courage, creativity, and connection can transform isolation into opportunity. Now I ask, what is one small action you will take tomorrow to break the silence? Who could you invite to share a meal or a walk? Which friendship could you rekindle with a simple message? Write your action plan below. Your bravery might encourage someone else to step forward. If this story resonated, please like it, share it with someone who might be feeling alone, and subscribe for more stories of heart, hope, and human connection. And remember, we are never truly alone when we choose to reach out. Connection is the antidote to loneliness. Thank you for watching. Here's to fighting the fog and reclaiming the warmth of community. One step, one call, one supper at a time.